Boxing Unfiltered, Lucas Media. So, want to do the first ever fantasy fight. And we got Marvin Hagler, who had a record of 62 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, 52 wins by way of knockout, fought at 160 pounds, and was the WBA, WBC, IBF ring and lineal champion between 1980 and 1987. Versus Roy Jones Jr. at middleweight. Roy Jones, who had 66 wins, 9 losses, 47 wins by knockout. He was the IBF champion at middleweight in 1993. He also became the IBF champion at super middleweight between 94 and 96. Light heavyweight champion between 96 and 2003. And he was also undisputed, all 4 belts, and was the heavyweight champion in 2003 when he beat Cruz. Now, just real quick before we get into the meat and gritty, notable matchups for Roy Jones: he beat James Toney in 94, Bernard Hopkins in 93, but he lost to him in 2010. John Ruiz in 2003 when he won that WBA title. Tarver, he won 1 fight, lost 2 of them against him. Felix Trinidad, and in a comeback win. And also Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns beat him. They had arguably the best first round ever in boxing history. Roberto Duran, he took him on a 15-round decision. You remember back in the 80s, everything was 15 rounds back in the days. Sugar Ray Leonard, who he lost. That was his last fight, and it was very controversial. Most people believe that he won. Go back and watch the fight with the sound off. And Alan Minnick, when he won the middleweight championship in UK. And if you guys don't remember, the guys, they started throwing stuff into the crowd. The fans did. They had to rush Marvin Hagler out of there. So let me just get quick keys to victory, right? So Roy Jones, stay off the ropes. You don't want to get into. He don't want to get into a war with Marvin Hagler. Control the distance and his speed. He's clearly faster than Marvin Hagler. Counterpunch Hagler when he lunges, and avoid a war at all costs. Marvin Hagler, keys to victory: cut off the ring, go to the body early, drag into deep waters, and turn a war into attrition. So style-wise, like I said, Roy's gonna be bouncing around. He's not gonna want to engage, even though Roy is the faster fighter and maybe even a more accurate fighter. The fighter that Marvin Hagler out there throwing, as Mike Tyson would say, hydrogen bombs. And Marvin Hagler also got a hell of a chin as well. And I meant to say this at the beginning, but let's just say Marvin Hagler gets the bigger slice of the pie. It's some type of co-promotion through Don King and Bob Arum. The fight's going to be on HBO. And it's probably going to be, I say, about 1.5 million pay-per-views. Now, we do know Roy Jones got robbed of the gold medal, so he's still coming off of that. But we haven't seen nobody like Roy Jones. So people forget Roy was the fighter of the decade in the 1990s. But we'll just say this. Round 1, they both respecting each other. Round 2, round 3, Marvin starts pursuing Roy. I say about between round 4 and 5, Roy starts countering Marvin. And Marvin turns it into a war at some point. He keeps catching Roy, but Roy is countering back. Marvin's never dealt with nobody at the speed of Roy Jones Jr. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with this, but I think in a 12 round, and it's also for 12 rounds, it ain't going to be a 15 rounder. I say for 12 rounds, Roy edges Marvin Hagler in a split decision, which shocks the world. Vegas has Roy, a 20-1 underdog against Marvin Hagler. And this is probably Marvin's biggest loss. Even more important to Sugar Ray Leonard. And let me say this, right? A lot of people be sleeping on Roy. And I know a lot of people going to say, how could I ever disrespect Marvin Hagler? Let me say this, right? And this is just my opinion. If Roy had beat Ruiz, well, he did beat him. If he stopped at that point, maybe fought Antonio Tarver and beat him one time, I think Roy will arguably be a top 5 boxer. But what happened was he got greedy and he started coming back, and he didn't want to quit, and he fought even in the 2010s. And at that point, Roy was a shell of himself. Like, Roy never really was good at defense, but he was so fast and so quick that there was nothing you could do. He basically went 50-0. I mean, yeah, he had a DQ, but then he came back, knocked out, I forget his name, in the first round. But Roy pretty much should have been 50-0. And he would have been the standard. Now, as far as Marvin Hagler, I do think that he would beat majority of fighters, honestly. I can respect the fact that he fought middleweight his career and he wanted to stay there. He didn't chase big money fights at light heavyweight and all of that. He wanted to ruin his division. But I do think that at 100, if you force me to make a decision I think that at 160 pounds, Roy gets Marvin. Now, he don't stop Marvin Hagler, but he definitely edges him out. You know, Marvin gets frustrated after the fight. He starts complaining about Roy was running around and he wants to do a rematch. And Roy floats out the idea that, you know, he's going to fight. He don't mind doing a rematch. But it'll be on his terms. It's somehow now Roy wants a 70-30 split and the fight doesn't happen. Meanwhile, Roy moves up and Marvin Hagler still stays at 164 pounds. 160 pounds. I don't know why, y'all. I'm thinking about 154 pounds for whatever reason. And it would make Roy undisputed, you know, because when Marvin Hagler fought, there was only 3 belts, WBA, WBC, and IBF. So let's just say for shits and giggles, Roy is the WBO champion and he becomes unified and he becomes lineal. But yeah, I just want to get my quick thoughts about it. Like I said, there's really no right or wrong, y'all. This would just been a dream fight of mine. Two of these guys are my favorite fighters, and I'm just under the belief that Roy in his prime was damn near unbeatable. But I just want to get my quick thoughts about it. Let me know what y'all think.